Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari. Yashodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Bhaja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivrajacharya Astottara Satashri Srimathis Divine Grace Srila Abhay Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Garantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bo. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudhirayat. Nasta prayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistuki. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. So we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 9. entitled Dhruva Maharaj Returns Home, text number 9. Okay. What? Number 9 is on the schedule. Yes? Okay. Text number 9. Word for word. Nunam Vishmusta Mataya Tava Mayaya Te Ye Tvam Bhavapyaya Vimukshanam Anyahetu Arshanti Kalpaka Tarun Kunapaya Bhogyam Ichanti Yat Spasajam Niraye Api Nirnam Nunam Vimushta Matayastava Mayayate Te Tvam Bhavapyaya Vimukshanam Anyahetu Archanti Kalpaka Tarun Kunapa Bhabogyam Ichanti Yat Spasajam Niraye Apinidnam Nunam Vimusta Matayastava Mayayate Mayate Te Tvam Bhavapyaya Vimukshanam Anyahetu Achanti Kalpaka Tarun Kunapo Bhogyam Ichanti Yat Spasajam Niraye Apinirnam Nunam Vimushta Matayastava Mayayate Ye Tvam Bhavapyaya Vimukshanam Anyahetu Achanti Kalpaka Tarun Kunapa Bhogyam Ichanti Yat Spasajam Niraye Apinidnam Nam Bhogyam Chantiyat Pasaja Miraya Ninam. Nunam, certainly, Vimusta Mataya, those who have lost their right intelligence. Tava, your Mayaya, by the influence of the illusory energy. Te, they, ye, who, tvam, you, bhava, from birth, apyaya, and death, vimukshanam, the cause of liberation, anyahetu, for other purposes, archanti, worship, kalpakatharum, who are like the desire tree, kunapa, of this dead body, upabhogyam, sense gratification, ichanti, they desire, yat, that which, spasajam, derived by touch sensation, niraye, in hell, api, even, nirnam, for persons. Translation: persons who worship you simply for sense gratification of this bag of skin are certainly influenced by your illusory energy. In spite of having you, who are like a desire tree and are the cause of liberation from birth and death, foolish persons such as me desire benedictions from you for sense gratification, which is available even for those who live in hellish conditions. Please repeat. Persons who worship you simply for the sense gratification of this bag of skin are certainly influenced by your illusory energy. In spite of having you, who are like a desire tree and are the cause of liberation from birth and death, foolish persons such as me desire benedictions from you for sense gratification, which is available even for those who live in hellish conditions. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dhruva Maharaj repented because he had come to the Lord to render devotional service for material gain. He here condemns his attitude. Only due to gross lack of knowledge does one worship the Lord for material profit or for sense gratification. The Lord is like a desire tree. Anyone can have whatever he desires from the Lord. But people in general do not know what kind of benedictions they should ask from him. Happiness derived from touch of skin or sensuous happiness is present in the life of hogs and dogs. Such happiness is very insignificant. If a devotee worships the Lord for such insignificant happiness, he must be considered devoid of all knowledge. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurul Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manubhishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sahagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastate Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Satadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavari Paschata Deshatharine Vanchakalpaturubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pabhinebhyo Vaishnavbhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Translation. Persons who worship you Shri Shri Radha Radhanath Ki Jai, Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai, Gaur Hari Ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Persons who worship you simply for sense gratification of this bag of skin are subtly influenced by your illusory energy, in spite of having you, who are like a desire tree and are the cause of liberation from birth and death. Foolish persons such as me desire benedictions from you for sense gratification, which is available even for those who live in hellish conditions. This is one qualification. It's a prayer. Dhruva Maharaj continues his prayer to the Lord directly, who appeared before him. And here we see one very nice qualification we need to advance in spiritual life. Dhruva Maharaj says, foolish persons such as me. So this is the beginning of our advancement, when we really are broken down. We are in a helpless condition. Our pride is taken away. then we can have this feeling of being really foolish before those who are spiritually advanced. And then we can gain knowledge. Because we'll hear many things over and over again. But if we are proud and we still have attraction for enjoying this world, that knowledge will not act. We will not imbibe it, and we will not be able to carry out our lives according to that knowledge that we receive from those who are spiritually advanced. So here we see Dhruva Maharaj as, by his own example, and he's setting the standard for us to follow, that we have to become foolish before those who are superior to us. And we should really consider everyone else to be superior, even those who are not in devotional service, because we can learn so much from them. There's so many types of gurus. So here we see Dhruva Maharaj is saying, foolish persons as me desire benedictions from you for sense gratification. So this is the beginning qualification when we approach the spiritual master. In Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says one should approach the bona fide spiritual teacher in a humble state of mind. One should be, in this verse we recite every day, Chinadapi Sunichena, Tarorapi Sahishnuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtanya Sadahari. So one should be more humble, one should be more tolerant, one should be devoid of the sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respects unto others. So in this state, this is how we should think of ourselves, as the most fallen. And then we approach those who we can see are practicing spiritual life, who are sincere, who are doing the same thing every day. Especially in the temple, anyone can approach the temple devotees because they're doing the same thing every day. And these devotees can guide and be mentors to those who are coming into spiritual life. So this idea of Dhruva Maharaj, will gradually see how, when he felt foolish, he could understand, and then later on we could see how he benefited by having this attitude. To advance in spiritual life, one must have a pessimistic view of this world that we live in. There's two ways. One is by learning from our own example. When we get a few hard knocks in life, then we begin to think and make inquiry. And the other is we must learn from the examples of others. How come this person is in such a miserable condition? And you study his life, again it breaks down to his attraction for sense gratification. Prabhupada writes in his purport, Dhruva Maharaj repented because he had come to the Lord to render devotional service for material profit. This is actually the very beginning of our spiritual journey. Many people, or even ourselves, after we try very hard to secure some nice, comfortable situation in this world, when there's failure, we are all impersonalists basically in the beginning. We feel we can do things on our own strength. And when that fails, then we become a little intellectual. We come on first we are karmis, simply working hard for sense gratification. When that fails, we become frustrated and we become jnanis. This jnani means we try to speculate about life. We try to gain knowledge. And then ultimately, we become bhaktas. So, and this is the stage we are all in, is like karmis are simply hard working to maintain the sense gratification. Then we become a little intellectual after getting the few hard knocks in life. Let me try to solve the problems in life. So, in we come, Prabhupada writes, he condemns his attitude Only due to lack of gross knowledge does he worship the Lord for material profit, for sense gratification. The Lord is like a desire tree. Anyone can have whatever he desires from the Lord, but people in general do not know what kind of benediction they should ask of him. Prabhupada writes, he says, only due to lack of knowledge does one worship the Lord for material profit. Generally, our lives are based on this body. And as we read in the translation or in this verse, persons worship you simply for sense gratification of this bag of skin, which is a fact. Some say skin, some say refuse bag, some say bin bag. This is the covering. And what's in this bag? I remember once one senior devotee, he said that, what is this body? We are trapped in this body of 9 gates. 2 eyes, nostrils, ears, mouth, anus and genitals. And what's coming out of this body? Is anything nice? So everyone began to laugh. Then they understood what's in this body. And what's holding this body together? Is the skin. Some have black skin, white skin, colored skin, Indian skin, white skin, whatever it is. So this is what we relate to. And it's spoken, it's just we are attracted to the touch sensation, which is the skin. So this is how to understand in the very beginning is that we are not this body. And this body is just the elements that is put into this bag, this skin. And this is the very beginning of spiritual knowledge, is to understand that we are not this bag or skin of matter. This body is just a covering for who we really are, this spirit soul. Just like we have these clothes that cover this body is a covering for the spirit soul. And this body is temporary, but the soul is eternal. So this is the beginning of our spiritual advancement. When we understand this, then we can come out of this ignorance that Prabhupada is talking of in this purport. It is how the world is in, that everyone thinks in terms of this body. And therefore you find the so-called leaders, the people in government, when they come to canvass for your vote, they come with a manifesto. We will do this, we will do that, we will do that. All for your sense gratification. All to make your life better. But here we also read, Dhruva Maharaj is approaching the Lord and he is saying, everyone is desiring from you a sense gratification which is available even for those in hellish conditions. Those in hellish conditions are the animals, because they have no idea of spiritual life. They're simply thinking how to eat, how to have sex, how to defend. These are animal propensities. So if a human being as well doesn't use this rare human opportunity to inquire into spiritual life, to try and practice spiritual life, Prabhupada says he is like a polished animal. It's the same thing. Prabhupada says you will eat in a nice restaurant or at home, animal will pick up anything and you will eat. You will defend yourself with your guns and atomic bombs, an animal will come with its claws and defend itself. So in this way, if a human being doesn't use this rare human form of life, he's like a polished animal, which is a fact. Because it's so difficult when you are in material life. You have practically no time to think of Krishna or God. When you get up, you're thinking, how am I going to take care of my family today? If I go to work, there's a possibility that I will lose my job. Prabhupada writes also that even a person who is highly qualified, there's also threat of unemployment. So where's our security? From the time you get up, you're simply going to think of how to maintain this body. So where there's a chance of thinking of Krishna, oh God? So it's very difficult situation. So Prabhupada continues in the purport. Happiness derived from the touch of skin or sensuous happiness is present in the life of hogs and dogs. Such happiness is very insignificant. If a devotee worships the Lord for such insignificant happiness, he must be considered devoid of all knowledge. So again, how can we develop a higher taste? So we can still continue in this body, but engage in devotional service. This famous verse from the Bhagavad Gita 259, Krishna says, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehina rasa varjam raso api asya param drisva nivartate. Translation: though the embodied soul may be restricted from sense enjoyment, the taste for sense objects remain. But ceasing such engagements by experiencing a higher taste, he is fixed in consciousness. And here in this purport, Prabhupada gives us further instructions or guidance. Prabhupada writes, unless one is transcendently situated, it is not possible to cease from sense enjoyment. The process of restriction from sense enjoyment by rules and regulations is something like restricting a diseased person from certain types of eatables. The patient, however, neither likes such restrictions nor loses his taste for eatables. Similarly, sense restriction by some spiritual process like Ashtanga Yoga in the matter of Yama, Niyama, Ashana, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dharana, Dhyana, etc. is recommended for less intelligent persons who have no better knowledge. It's a very strong statement, very strong and direct statement. This Ashtanga Yoga is recommended for less intelligent persons who have no better knowledge. Prabhupada continues, but one who has tasted the beauty of the Supreme Lord Krishna in the course of his advancement in Krishna consciousness is no longer has a taste for dead material things. Therefore, restrictions are therefore less intelligent neophytes in the spiritual advancement of life. But restrictions are only good until one actually has a taste for Krishna consciousness. When one is actually Krishna conscious, he automatically loses his taste for pale things. This is very, very wonderful purport. Unless one is transcendently situated, it is not possible to cease from sense enjoyment. I remember once, it's there, the Prabhupada speaks of this very instructive pastime. It's in Srila Prabhupada's Leela Amrita about two Brahmins or Brahmacharis. They were traveling and they had to cross over a river to get onto the other side. And and when they came to this river, there was also a young lady who wanted to cross over, but it was quite dangerous for her to do so. So one of these Brahmins or Brahmacharis, he told, okay, you come, I will carry you, and we'll walk across. And when the other devotee, Brahman, he saw this, he was shocked, but he didn't say anything. So this one devotee, he carried her across, and he left her down. She thanked him, and then she went on her way, and these two devotees began to go on their way. So after 2 or 3 hours of walking, the other devotee asked the devotee who carried the lady, how could you carry that lady? We are brahmacharis. And this devotee who carried the lady said, I just carried her for 2 or 3 minutes, but for 3 hours you carried her in your mind. See? So this is in the beginning stages. Although we may come to Krishna consciousness, these thoughts of sense gratification will be there. But Prabhupada is giving us the process by which we can gradually come to the point of fully being Krishna conscious. So in the beginning, or when we have these thoughts, we should be repentful. My dear Lord Krishna, please forgive me. I'm trying, and I'll get there one day. But for now, please help me with this, to overcome these thoughts. So the thoughts of sense gratification will always be there. We should understand that we are coming from time immemorial. We've been forgetful of Krishna. And it will not be automatic that we come into the association of devotees that these thoughts will stop. It will always be there, up to the time of death. There's another famous example. A king asked one of his ministers, at what point will a man fully stop thinking of sex life, of sense gratification? So his minister took him, let's go to the hospital. And he told the king, bring your young daughter, grown-up daughter, along. And he wondered why, but anyway he took his daughter. So they went to see an old dying man in hospital. He's lying on his deathbed. And he told the girl that you stand at the feet, and the two of them were by his head. So immediately when this dying man, he saw the king, he heard that someone has come, immediately his eyes bypassed the king and the minister, and his eyes went to the young girl. So this illustrated to the king that right up to the point of death we're going to be thinking of sense gratification. So we have to be extremely humble. And as in this verse that we read, we have to take on the mood of Dhruva Maharaj. Being foolish as me, Dhruva Maharaj is saying. So in this way it's very difficult to break ourselves, but our circumstances, when we put into situations by others, that will break us. Not that we should go and start breaking and insulting devotees to break them, no. By our situation, time, place and circumstance, this is how we'll be able to cultivate this knowledge. Yes, and such a nice class was given on Sunday by Mataji. When something happens, don't blame others. It is your karma. So this all helps us to become, as Dhruva Maharaj is saying here, to become foolish before superior persons. And from this point, we simply have to continue with the process. And ultimately, there'll come a time where there'll be no extra effort required to overcome our thoughts for sense gratification. Hare Krishna. Stop there and take your comments, questions.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much for that very informative class. Earlier on you mentioned about Prabhupada talking about pessimism. And I think it's in one of the purports in the Bhagavatam, I was trying to think where, so I read that. Prabhupada said, unless we have a pessimistic view of this material world, our desire to live it won't be there. Unless we have a pessimistic view, but then But then in our secular education, we are taught how to be optimistic, isn't we? Are nurtured in that way, look on the bright side of things. But we see the futility of this material world. Time and again it rears its ugly head, and we see there's only suffering. And sometimes we have to experience these things to get some realization. Like you were saying, there's attraction for skin and bone. Initially we just get attracted, isn't it? Like the verse in the chapter 2, you're close to those verses. While contemplating the object of the senses, one becomes attached, isn't it? It's just contemplation of the senses. Seeing some beautiful girl sees boy, and just by the external features we get attracted like that. But it's just skin and bone, isn't it, ultimately? But we have to come to that realization. Otherwise we'll never understand that. He says, even a man of discrimination, the senses, in this cluster of verses, you were quoting one verse there, the senses are so strong, impetuous, that even a man of discrimination who is endeavoring to control them can overcome him. Yeah. That's how strong these senses are. And he gave the story of the old man in the hospital, and with King Birbal, I think that's the story. And his minister were going, and it shows the senses will agitate us till we die. They will give us, even in old age, even in our suffering condition, with the desire to enjoy is still there. Like somebody asked, even if you have some debilitating chronic diseases, and somebody asks you, how are you? Oh, I'm fine. Is it? We say like that time. There's a desire to enjoy, we think, we're hopeful that we will get better and try to enjoy this material energy, but it's all just so futile. And there's many examples of King Yamunacharya. Isn't Prabhupada quotes in the purport of Yamunacharya? He says, I have a higher taste now that whenever I think of activities that engage the senses, then I spit at the thought. But we have to have that realization, otherwise we think, yes, sense enjoyment is like in the material life, that's the top of this thing, isn't it? And we work so hard just for that. Sex life becomes the pinnacle of everything we do. But in spiritual life, it's diametrically opposite. Self-realization becomes, and all these other becomes the lower. It's the lowest of things, sense gratification. But that comes with, like Dhruva has some realization. Initially, he was very, very. He had aspirations of having bigger kingdom, bigger than. He wanted all these things. But after seeing the Lord, he got purified from that, and now he's seeing the futility of that. So we have to go through this. Sometimes go through it, and it humbles us. It makes us humble. That's why we're here. Then we've seen others also. We see the futility of this material life, of sense enjoyment, and sometimes we learn very late, but nevertheless, it's a learning experience. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. The Prabhupada ki.
Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.